Welcome to another episode of the Bear Report Podcast. This is the Bear Report Podcast episode number 81 for Thursday, April 19th, 2017. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Bear Report Podcast, where we bring to you all the latest news in the BlackBerry land, the BlackBerry world. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week. It is we're in April, almost through April actually, and here the weather is kind of being weird still. It's cold one day, warm one day. I don't think it can make up its mind. So still waiting for some nice warm weather. Actually was able to go out on some walks this week during my lunch break at work. So the weather's getting there. It's starting to get to where I like it to be, and hopefully the warm weather keeps on coming, and we can keep enjoying being outdoors. That's one thing I love to do. And thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are watching via YouTube, thank you for joining us. If you're not yet subscribed to the bearreport.com YouTube channel, go and hit that little red link or red icon below me. There should be a little bearreport.com logo there. You can click on that to subscribe to the channel. If you have already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that like button if you like this video. If you don't like this video, hit the dislike button too. That's perfectly fine. We take both sides of the criticism spectrum here. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, thank you for listening to us on your way to work or wherever you're going, in your car or in your office, wherever you listen to your podcast. I listen to them all over the place as well. If you're liking the show, go ahead and leave a comment on a rating on your podcast app that you're using, and let us know what you like about the show. What do you like about the audio format or whatever, and make sure you tell all your friends and family. Share it on your Facebook or your BBM or your Twitter or your Instagram, wherever you want to share the bearreport.com podcasts. Greatly appreciate it. Lots of great news this week. Some pretty cool news that we came across this afternoon on bearreport.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, stay tuned. I'll kind of tell you guys what that is. First of all, I want to let you guys know, last night I recorded a podcast. So if you don't know, UTB Brad from utbblogs.com, he has another podcast he does along with the UTB Blogcast. That's the site's weekly show for BlackBerry news. He also does his own podcast. It's called the UTB Brad podcast. This is pretty much more of a one-on-one sit down with other their personalities in the BlackBerry or tech world. And they just talk about a topic for that week. And me and him have been trying to communicate and trying to work together to get us onto a show together. And it's definitely something I was really anxious to do. I love going on podcasts and talking to people. It's what I started as a podcaster. So definitely love doing it. So last night I was able to join him for the 14th episode of his UTB Brad podcast. We called it the Tale of Two Brads because we wrote the name Brad, and we talked a lot about BlackBerry. Actually, we talked way too much. I know whenever I get on a podcast with somebody, I usually extend their podcast limit or length till another hour or so. So we went over the time limit that we kind of put for ourselves. So we will be doing a part 2. But if you haven't go check it out, make sure you subscribe to his podcast for one. If you just look UTB Brad podcast in your podcast app, just look for it. Subscribe to it. He's got some really good content coming out on that podcast, including my podcast that's out there right now, available to you. And just subscribe, listen to it. Let us know what you think. You can actually also go to bearreport.com. We have a article there for it as well. But yeah, go check it out. It's a pretty cool podcast. We talked about some of the stuff that John Chen mentioned on his interview on Recode this week. And yeah, we'll talk about that stuff here too. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for who are watching live right now on YouTube, by the way. I forgot to mention this. If you guys are watching live, you have access to the chat. Go ahead and feel free to pop some kind of words in there, some questions, comments, whatever you have to talk about. We will take your questions, comments on the air. We always read them live as much as we can. So let's get started. Let's get to the news. So first things first, we had a lot of updates come through as far as app updates come. And the one big one that we've seen so far is the BlackBerry Hub Plus apps. it looks like BlackBerry is starting. We saw it 2 weeks ago. Looks like Password Keeper had gotten an update that brought or in beta, a beta update that brought the Oreo support to beta users. Now, this doesn't really affect any BlackBerry owners right now because there's no BlackBerry Android device that has Android Oreo on it, but it does affect people who are using the Android the BlackBerry Hub Plus suite on other Android devices. Remember, you can install the Hub suite applications on your Samsung your device, your OnePlus device. You can put it on your HTC device, your whatever Android device you're running, or current Android device you're running for that matter. You can run the BlackBerry Hub suite products on there. So we saw that for Password Keeper, and a lot of people are BlackBerry Password. And we were wondering when we were going to see it for the other apps come through, and it looks like they are starting to come through. So BlackBerry is starting to get everything ready for Android Oreo for current users of Oreo, and I'm going to guess future rollout to BlackBerry Key One and Motion owners as we speak, and future BlackBerry devices, of course. So what they have done, they updated BlackBerry Hub, the Hub services, Notes by BlackBerry, Tasks by BlackBerry, and BlackBerry Launcher as well. A couple of big changes. The BlackBerry Hub, as we said, that is improved performance on devices running Android version 8.0 or later. You can also, for administrators, BlackBerry Hub users agents has now changed to Android on all devices, including BlackBerry devices. You can also choose to include sent messages when you file an email conversation, which is pretty cool. What's going on, Brian D and Kyle? Thanks you guys for tuning in to the podcast. Also, there is no longer request access to your location when you install BlackBerry Hub services, which is always nice. And also, there's just minor enhancements to Notes and Tasks. Notes and Tasks, actually, you can now create a new note by typing a title in the search field, which is very cool. Quick and easy access to creating a task or a note. And bug fixes and minor enhancements for the BlackBerry Launcher. Pretty cool. They also updated the BlackBerry keyboard. So on the Key One and the Motion and the Priv, for that matter. What's new in there? You can now there's now Chinese flick typing. So if you use, we should be back, I believe. Sorry about that, guys. It's like my computer wanted to shut everything down, or my Chromecast for that matter. I should be back. If you guys are still in the chat, let me know. I see myself, so I'm back. So we'll have to edit that out in mid show. But anyways, we were talking about the BlackBerry keyboard. The BlackBerry keyboard had a nice little update that now provides Chinese flick typing and control fix for the Priv, which is always nice to see the Priv getting some kind of update or for them. Also, slideboard compatibility with type by swipe, and language support from Millennium and Ukraine. Also, stability fixes. So, if you haven't grabbed these updates yet, they're in the Google Updates tab in Google Play. So go grab them and make sure that you have the latest updates for all your apps. I always recommend. Like I said before, I've said this before on other podcasts. I always check daily, sometimes twice a day. It's usually the first thing I do in the morning is head into, when I get into work, I have some free time and just hit Google Play updates and update all whatever's there, and grab all the updates from my apps that I have. So now to some of the more interesting stuff that we have. Let me just double check, make sure we don't have any more app updates that we had. We also had some minor fixes, updates sent out for Password Keeper and stuff like that. But other than that, nothing too crazy. So anyways, let's get to the fun stuff, the devices, right? So earlier this week, we saw a render emerge online of what's being labeled as the BlackBerry Athena. So this is a rumored device, or rumored code name for a device that looks to be like a follow-up to the Key One. We're going to assume that it's going to be called Key 2. We'll get to that in a little bit. And If you check out these renders, they're actually some pretty cool renders. Now, we don't have any official word on what these renders are, if these are just mock-ups that someone put up on their own, or if these are actually images coming from BlackBerry Mobile or TCL. So we don't really know what these images are just yet, but I'm sure we'll get some kind of clarification what they are eventually down the road. I would say that they probably are the Athena or the next BlackBerry Key 1 update, but I wouldn't put it either is or isn't. I don't know which one it is. Looks pretty good if it is, and it's definitely something they can take my money for already. But so just checking out the Athena itself, the device really looks good. It's again, it's a Key 2 or a Key 1 that's been updated. So looks like a slightly first of all wider keyboard that's available. So a lot of people kind of their complaint with the Key 1 has always kind of been that the keyboard is a little bit too small, too cramped. And on this render, it looks like the keyboard has been spaced out a little bit. Now it's not too, nothing too wide, it's not Passport, right? But it looks kind of like a classic keyboard on the Key 1. So if you take the Key 1, remove the Key 1 keyboard and throw like the classic on there, that's the keyboard that it kind of looks like. If you haven't seen the images, click on the link below in the description and you will see, you could see this for yourself. But the keyboard looks nice on it. I really love that so the space bar itself has a little BlackBerry logo. So I'm assuming that's where the fingerprint sensor is going to be, just like it is on the Key 1. And I really like that little BlackBerry logo on the bottom or on the key, the space bar. Really gives it a nice little touch to it. And if you look on the right hand side of the device, there looks to be all the buttons are on the right hand side. So the volume key, your volume up and down, your power, and your convenience key look to be all on the right side, which is very similar to what the Motion has, right? So if you have a BlackBerry Motion, if you look on the right hand side, all the keys are the same. Looks to be on this BlackBerry Athena render that appeared online this week. The very interesting aspect of this render is the camera. So the camera no longer shows just a single lens. It has a dual lens on the back. So something like you're seeing on the Samsung Galaxy 9 or the Galaxy 8 Note and on the iPhone devices, right? It has a dual camera on the back, which is really cool. Hopefully we'll go get some really cool looking pictures from this device if this is the actual Key 2. And really nice looking. And if you remember, a few months back, we saw TCL and BlackBerry publish a patent for some kind of camera technology that we all thought it was. A lot of people thought it was the Priv or a Priv follow-up, but it was really just them using the Priv as a demo for this camera technology. So that camera technology patent makes sense with this render. So that's why I kind of want to say that it is the next device, but we don't really know yet what it really is. What else? The headphone jack's still there in this render, which is going to make a lot of people happy. Still USB-C on the bottom. So yeah, this render is something that really looks nice. Again, don't know officially what this render is, if it's really is the Key 2, or if it's the follow-up to the Key 1, or if it's just someone mocked this up and took a key or image of the Key 1 and mashed it together with the Motion. That could be possible as well. Other nice news, the folks over at Optimus have already, so with Optimus, we've seen two devices float around in the kind of leaked image world. One is labeled as the Ghost, and the other one is labeled as the Ghost Pro. So Ghost Pro, you would think Ghost Pro has a little higher spec device, or higher specs on the device than the technically Ghost would be. So it's kind of like the iPhone, the Samsung Galaxy S9 and the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, right? Slightly better specs on the Plus compared to the 9, or slight differentiation between the two of them somehow. So Optimus this week kind of gave a little quote on what their future holds for BlackBerry devices that they're going to be released. So they said that in the next quarter, they want to release 2 new BlackBerry devices in the next quarter, which would make sense for what we've seen so far with the Ghost and the Ghost Pro. They also said though that they're looking to they have a strong pipeline for devices that they want to bring this year. So they also have other devices that are lined up to bring out this year. So could you imagine Optimus releasing like 5 devices this year? I doubt it. You'll probably see 3 or 4 at the most, but uh, the fact that they would be releasing these devices would be crazy. I know they kind of have to catch up a little bit to like TCL, right? TCL launched the Key One and the Motion already. Optimus really technically only launched the Key One, and that was a partnership with them and TCL. So you would think, all right, what's Optimus has in store? What do they have in store for BlackBerry brand? They also said, this is another quote that they gave. You cannot analyze a BlackBerry device based solely on the specs. We feel that the specs that we are putting into the phone are optimum for it. You cannot single out a specific hardware choice and state that the device is overpriced. It doesn't work like that. BlackBerry being BlackBerry will always fetch a premium. So this quote pretty much states, the fact that it's a BlackBerry device already gives it a premium feel to the device, right? You don't really have to put high end specs on a device for it to be consider a premium with the fact that it's a BlackBerry device. So, but it also means that they're probably not going to shy away from putting premium specs in there, but they're not going to dump a ton of specs into the entire device, right? So you might see like the camera have there be a really good camera inside the device, but not the top of line processor. Now we've already seen this with the Key One and the Key One and the Motion that this works, right? They don't have top of line processors, but they have the 625, and that just gives a BlackBerry Key One and the Motion better battery life, right, on the devices to work with the optimizations of BlackBerry Android. So, that's what you can kind of expect from that quote. They're not gonna say we're gonna put every top of line spec in every portion of this device. We're gonna put some top of line specs in some portion of this device, and then some are not going to get top of line specs, which is fine with me. I mean, if I'm someone in India and I hear this quote, I can expect pretty decent BlackBerry devices to come out. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's a BlackBerry device gives it a premium feel to it already, and I'm pretty good chance that I'm going to buy it. You know, give or take some specs. If it doesn't have a really good battery in it, I probably wouldn't buy it. If it doesn't have a really good camera in it, that might sway me a little bit. But I'm buying a BlackBerry device not really for the specs. I'm buying it more for the usage of that device. So if I can get good battery life out of it, but not so great camera experience, I'll still buy it because I'll settle for the battery life over the camera, right? Kind of like what the Motion, right? The Motion isn't really my favorite camera compared to the Key One or the Key Two, or sorry, the Key One and the Motion, but it gets a little bit better battery life than the Key One, and therefore I could see myself favoring that device over the Key One. Now, the Key One is still my daily driver because of that keyboard, but just an example, of course. So, we'll see what comes out of Optimus. I'm sure we'll see something soon from them because, like I said, they haven't really done too much of anything. And so yeah, those are the kind of. We'll get to a little bit more device news in a little bit here, but let's switch gears over to BBM. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge BBM user. I use BBM daily on a daily basis to communicate with friends, family, coworkers, and not so much coworkers, but other site owners like YouTube Brad and stuff like that. I use it daily to communicate with people, and it's really my primary source of communication with as many people as I can get. If you have noticed, BBM has been going through some pretty cool changes, right? So BBM just rolled out a new update for BBM users. This BBM update brings a faster and lighter version of BlackBerry, along with storage management options inside BBM, which is very cool. So, what does this mean? So you can now connect with friends faster with a streamlined BBM app. both Android and iOS users should see a faster load time when opening their application after it's been fully closed or forced closed, and it should open up a lot quicker. You should also see a improved average amount of time it takes the app to start up over the previous release as well. Chat should also be a lot better. The one-on-one chat should be working a lot better. Multi-group chats, multi-person chats. Not chaps. Group chats should now load quicker as well. Messages, stickers, BB emojis, other keyboard features. They should all send a lot quicker as well. And we'll get to that reason, the reason why in a minute here. But these are the other cool portions of this update. BBM now lets you choose the storage requirements. So Android users can now choose to manage the storage of each chat or group message itself. So you can go into the Me tab and go to General, choose Data, and then Storage. You should see a list of chats there, and this will allow you to kind of see how much storage each chat is taking up. And you can kind of delete certain things. You don't have to delete everything. You can delete the text that are in there, so the messages. You can delete the photos and the videos that are in there, or any other attachments that are in there, or you can delete them all at once as well. So this kind of lets you see, if you have a heavily used group chat, right? I know I have a couple of them. You can kind of go in there, every now and then and clear out certain things that are in there. So for instance, if your group has if you share photos a lot, you can kind of clear that data out, so that is no longer putting as much stress on your physical device, which is pretty cool. This is available pretty much only for Android users at the moment. iPhone users will probably get it eventually, but they haven't gotten it yet. Now you can also see preview of websites. So when you share a link inside of a chat, no longer is just going to show you the link. It will should also show you a preview of that website that you're sharing. So that lets people, I share a link to the group or share a link to someone else, and that allows them to see, kind of get a preview of what this link is about. So you can either choose to open it now or open it later. Say it's like a YouTube video, right? Cool. It's a YouTube video on Deadpool. I can go watch this later when I'm at home and I'm not at work or anything like that. Really cool little feature inside BBM. You can now invite more people when you send forwarded messages and share posts and stuff like that. It's a lot easier now to do that. My favorite feature of this is not an Android feature. Actually, it's an iOS feature. And if you guys don't know, iOS has something called a call kit. So the call kit feature of iOS takes applications like Skype, Google Hangouts, any video client or audio voice chat service, and integrates it with the phone features of iOS. So for instance, before Call Kit on iOS, if you got a phone call from like Skype, right, it would say, so and so is calling you, but it would kind of just look like a Skype notification, right, that someone's calling you. Now it actually comes up as a normal iOS phone call, which is very cool. So now BBM is now integrated with this as well, with Call Kit. So you don't have to worry about any uninterrupted voice or video calls on iOS. So if you're on a voice or video call with BBM and you get another incoming phone call, you can now choose 3 options: end the BBM call and accept the other call, have the other call sent directly to voicemail, or hold the BBM call to answer the other call. Before, you've never had these options. You would just have to either end the BBM call and answer the other call, or just ignore that call and let the caller figure out what's going on. Very cool. I really love this integration. It's good news for iOS users. Also, a very cool thing is now you can switch to you can switch your call to a Bluetooth connected device. So if you answer your BBM call and you say, "Oh, I'm getting into the car, let me switch it to my headset or my Bluetooth speaker inside the call or inside the car," you can do so with just one click of a button. Really cool feature. I really love this. That they're not just integrating everything with Android, but they're also integrating things with iOS. And iOS users should really, really love this feature. BBM is actually pretty integrated with iOS to begin with. If you don't know, on BBM for iOS, you can actually use your fingerprint or Touch ID to unlock your BBM chats, which is very cool. Same thing if you have the iPhone X and you use Face Unlock. Face Unlock will actually work with BBM as well to unlock your BBM chats. Pretty cool. So as I said earlier, that there's a lot of performance improvements with BBM as far as, opening up the application a lot quicker, chats loading quicker, stuff like that. So the reason behind this, and this is an article that I posted up today. It's titled pretty much BBM for consumers is no longer is now in the cloud. Sorry, BBM is for consumers is now in the cloud. What does that mean? Right? It's kind of a strange thing. And Kyle, I'll get to your comment in a minute here. So for the longest time, since the switch over from BlackBerry control of BBM to BBM MTech, the BBM information for consumers has been in Waterloo, Canada on servers, while BBM MTech is in Indonesia. So this kind of had made it hard for them to develop things, to made performance of the application a little bit rough on users and such like that. And it just wasn't the greatest experience for users, developers, or vice versa. So now the BBM MTech team has taken the BBM for consumer database and completely transitioned it to a cloud-based infrastructure. Right. So now everything's in the cloud. It's under cloud servers, and this is allowing BBM to operate a lot smoother than it has been in the past. With this past update that we're just mentioning, the chats opening up a lot quicker, the application itself running a lot quicker. That's in light of it being switched over to the cloud-based infrastructure. The other cool feature is, and I mentioned this on the UTB Brad podcast. One of my biggest complaints with BBM was always BBM voice and BBM video chats. Everybody knows I love BBM. Everybody knows I love BlackBerry. I will praise BlackBerry for a lot of great things that they do, but there's some things that I won't praise them for. And the way that BBM voice and BBM chats worked just wasn't very good, right? I would try to use BBM voice, and it would just be a horrible experience with voice calls and video chats. And I just could not do it. I could not stand it. I would avoid it at all costs, right? At first, I would try to get it working well, and try to kind of go with it, see if it worked any better. But it was never a very good experience. And I've heard this from a lot of people with BBM voice. But now, if you haven't done so already, try making a BBM voice call with somebody. Whoever you want, just call them, talk to them for a little bit, see how the call experience has been going. This past week, I was driving home from work, and someone from the BBM developers team actually messaged me as I was leaving work saying, "Hey, can you chat for a little bit?" Sure. And it's like, call me on BBM voice, since I was talking to them via BBM. And as I said, I will try to give BBM voice a try. And so I figured, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. And I was so shocked that this BBM voice call went very well as it did. And there was two things that kind of shocked me about it. Or one big thing that shocked me about it is the BBM voice call. I was on my way home from work. So that means I'm in a car connected to a Bluetooth device. And I'm also not connected to anything but the cellular network of AT&T. That's who I have here in the States. And I'm talking to, and he's telling me about some cool little things that are happening behind the scenes of BBM and stuff like that. And he tells me that the whole cloud infrastructure has been 100% completed. And he's telling me that how BBM voice calls should sound a lot better. And he's like, "What do you think of this voice call so far?" And I sit there to myself and think for 2 seconds, like, wow, this BBM voice call is actually really good. I haven't had any problems with it. I hear you loud and clear. I call him, BBM is now a lot easier for BBM voice calls and video chats to happen. It gives it a better user experience for everything. So I want you guys to do me a favor. If you guys are using BBM, go ahead and check things out like BBM voice and video calls, and let me know how you think. How's it working for you? Does it work any better than it has been before? If it has, or have not, leave a comment in this video, or send an email to brad@bearreport.com, or put it in the posts or somewhere on bearreport.com. Let us know. And I just want to know if it's working better for you guys. Kyle, just getting to your comment now. He said he just tried to add my BBM to my BlackBerry Classic, and it gives it an error. Found out if you use it on my so they can't take a BlackBerry ID that's been assigned already associated with an Android or iOS device and move it back to BlackBerry 10. And you can't do it the other way around either now. You can't take a BlackBerry ID that's on BlackBerry 10 and move it over to Android or iOS. So kind of a little problem, but you just have to kind of create a new BlackBerry ID and put it on the device that you're trying to put it on. But yeah, kind of a bummer, but you know. All right, so other cool news. Speaking of devices, or we go back to devices for that matter. So this past week, BlackBerry CEO John Chen, our favorite guy, he sat down with Recode. They have a pretty cool website. Recode, it's kind of a weird place to go for an interview, but they're very tech friendly, but they're very iPhone friendly too, iOS friendly. So that's where the kind of head scratcher comes in. But anyways, BlackBerry CEO John Chen sat down. It's a very good interview if you can kind of deal without the lady interrupting John every time he says something, or her making some kind of iPhone comment or Apple comment. If you kind of push that to the side, it's a very good interview. But John Chen said two interesting things that popped out to me. One popped out to everybody, but the other one popped out to me. First thing they were kind of talking about, and I stated this last night on the YouTube Brad podcast. As much as BlackBerry, the company, right? Not BlackBerry Mobile, not Optimus or anything. As much as BlackBerry, the company, wants to say they're not in the phone business anymore, or that they don't have anything to do with phones anymore, it's never the case, right? BlackBerry is always a phone company. Always going to be known for BlackBerry phones, no matter what, right? As many times as say we're not BlackBerry phone company anymore. We're a software company. There's still going to be a software company and everything like that. That's still going to be their drive. But to anybody deep down inside, they're always going to be a BlackBerry company. And you can see this with any interview that John Chen ever does, or anybody from BlackBerry ever does, right? Because they always get asked a phone question, or why did the phone business not work, or in this case, the interviewer asked, does he see BlackBerry getting back into the phone business, or back to making phones? And he said, and this is pretty much his quote, right? For the foreseeable future, I think our strategy works very well. But I think there might be a need in this world for a phone that is very simple and just focus on secure email, secure text, and basic browser. Regulated industries like doctors and lawyers and people who make deals, for example, investment bankers and government employees, I think they would love that. You don't make it too fancy, and you don't make it too expensive either. Now, he was kind of talking about she also did ask, what phone would you bring it back? And he's like, oh, remember the Bold 9900? And she kind of interrupted him here, but he was going to say that's the device I think that people should build. And so this kind of caught a lot of people's attention, right? So John Chen, he would love to bring a device that's focused on secure email, secure text, and basic browsing function. this got everybody alarmed, or not alarmed, but excited. For one, they hear the word Bold 9900 coming back, and the Bold 9900. If you're on video, this is the Bold 9900 in my hand. It's very fan favorite device, right? A lot of people love this device. There's some people out there that still carry this device around. If it had some of the functionality that I wish it had, I would probably still carry it around too. It's a very small device, fits in the palm of your hand. Look at in my hand, right? Right, very small device. If I take something like the Classic, it's much bigger device, right? In the palm of my hand. If I take something like the Q10, that's even bigger than the Bold 9900, right? Yeah, they're about the same size, actually. But anyways, so they hear Bold 9900, and the Bold 9900 is a great device, fan favorite device. They love it, right? John Chen asked that he would love to get them back into the phone business. That something he's always said. He said in previous interviews as well that he would love for them to get back into the phone business. Right now, they're not going to touch the phone business. They're going to keep it as is. They're going to keep the licensing stuff going with TCL and Optimus and BB Maraputai and keep it the way it is. So for anybody who's expecting a new phone from BlackBerry to be released with a Bold 9900, don't get your hopes up just right now, because it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. If it does, it's not going to run Android on it. It's definitely going to run some kind of form of BlackBerry 10 or another BlackBerry OS. If it doesn't run BlackBerry 10, it's going to run something BlackBerry makes, and BlackBerry is not making any type of phone OS right now. Now, they could kind of carve out BlackBerry 10 and put the basic functionalities on it, but I really don't think it's a device that would be pushed towards consumers. I think it'll be more like a device like this. If you guys remember, this is the RIM 957. There's a video of this on the BearPort.com YouTube channel. I did a throwback Thursday for this device. This is a very basic device. It has email, it had PIN messaging, and it had a web browser. Very basic web browser, right? And kind of go back to what John Chen said. He wants a device that focuses on secure email, secure text, and basic browser. Now, when he says secure text, I don't think he's talking about secure SMS messaging. So it's not like your text messaging you're seeing on your phone right now. I think he's more talking about like a pin-to-pin messaging concept, like BBM. Maybe not as blown out as BBM. If you remember back to the early days of BlackBerry, pin-to-pin messaging was just a text-based messaging platform that BlackBerry. I think that's really what he means with secure messaging, right? Not really text messaging. It's more secure pin messaging I usually talk about. So this device could do all three of those things. There was no apps on it. There's a clock. There was a calculator. There's a calendar. That was it, right? I think Brick Breaker is on here too. No, Brick Breaker is not on here. That's it. Doesn't make phone calls. Doesn't send text messages. Anything like that. Has a keyboard. Has the ability to check my email. Well, not right now, but it had the ability to check my email, and it had the ability to go to websites, or had the ability, of course. This is a device that I think John Chen is picturing. I don't think he's picturing this device. I think he's picturing this device and this device combined to make this, that the device that he's thinking of. It's not going to have any type of applications to it, and I think that's where it would fail. If you go to Washington right now, and this is in the interview that he did, you see a lot of people with this device in their hands still. Right, a BlackBerry device or some kind of BlackBerry device. Most of them are still carrying this. This device is still out there being used, which is perfectly fine. It's not the greatest device. It's not getting 4G LTE. See if this device even turns on. I don't even know if it's charged. But it's still being used by business people, doctors, and lawyers, and investment bankers and stuff like that. It's still being used to this day. So there would be kind of a niche market. And as I said last night on the podcast with Brad, that this device is geared towards a niche market because it has the keyboard to it, right? So that keyboard to it it has a niche market for that keyboard, right? There's not everybody's going to want a keyboard. There's a lot of people out there that love keyboards or BlackBerry keyboards, but not everybody wants one. That's why this device came out with TCL, right? The Motion. So the niche market for a keyboard is a lot bigger than this of a basic device with secure email, secure text, and secure web browser or basic web browser. Very, very small market for that. I don't think it's going to be geared towards consumers. Not saying that consumers won't be able to buy it. I don't think it would be geared towards it. Now, to the OS concept, right? BlackBerry is not anywhere near. BlackBerry is getting ready to shut down BlackBerry 10. I'm pretty certain that BlackBerry is not developing any type of OS currently behind the scenes or in-house. They could be, but they're not telling us. But I don't think that they are. I don't think right now that they will be. So hold on it. You're not going to put BlackBerry 10 on it because BlackBerry 10 is getting ready to be shut down or pretty much end of life. You're not going to put a new OS on it because you don't have a new OS to put onto it. Could you strip down BlackBerry 10 and throw those apps on it? Yeah, absolutely, you could, and do it. So yeah, John Chen has this thing in his mind, and what I want a lot of people to kind of. I know everyone gets excited because they want BlackBerry 10, and they want the old BlackBerry devices of yesterday to come back. And I don't know how those devices would succeed today. I know Kyle said he loved his Bold 9900, but its battery was trash and had no apps that I needed. I agree with the apps. Didn't have too many apps. The battery life wasn't too bad. This thing got me through a day. But I love my Bold 9900 too. But could you imagine using this small device today? People complain that the Key 1 has a very small screen for watching videos on, right? Could you imagine watching videos on this device? I did it back then, but I don't do it anymore. Again, this isn't really this device that John Chen is describing is not meant for business people, or sorry, it's not meant for consumers. It's meant more for business people who need a very secure, bear down device. Like the president of the United States. Most of their, Obama's phone, Trump's phone, their phones are all stripped down. Trump has Twitter, but other than that, it's a very stripped down phone. He doesn't have a web browser in it. And if he does have a web browser, it's very, very stripped down to the point he can only go to like whitehouse.gov and other very basic websites on his device. So, again, I don't know how that device would work. What I want a lot of people to get from this, well, right now it's covered with a Super Bowl banner for the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. But behind that is Seth Rollins. So, and if you're a wrestling fan, you know the term fantasy booking, right? Fantasy booking in the wrestling world means you make up a card. So wrestling events or a wrestling event on a card, right? It's kind of like boxing, right? Boxing as well. There's a card to that event and you have who's going to do what on that card. So fantasy booking really means dream up of a card that you would love to see at this event. So recently we just had WrestleMania come through and people fantasy book their dream WrestleMania, right? Andre the Giant versus the Big Show, or John Cena versus Hulk Hogan, or whatever. This was John Chen's fantasy booking for a BlackBerry device. That's what I want people to get from this. I get excited as much as you want. I got excited too when I listened to it, but keep in mind this is probably just John Chen fantasy booking this stuff. Now, the fact that he's thinking of phones still is a very good sign because he still has the idea of making phones. He still has the idea of what he would love in a phone. And that's great. Like I said, and as I said earlier, I can see BlackBerry getting into the phone business. These licensing deals that they have with PCI, Puta, and Optimus, they have end periods, contracts, right? Contracts all have end periods. So when will these contracts end? They'll end eventually, and BlackBerry is going to have to figure out what to do at that time. BlackBerry could re-sign a deal and say, "Go make us more BlackBerry devices," or to say, "Yeah, we might be able to make these things in house now." If you can imagine the BlackBerry for all these devices to the point where BlackBerry is popular again, as much as we would love for it to be, and BlackBerry says, "Yeah, we'll make them in house again." Now we can make them in house because they're popular again, and we can, start making money off them. Not that they're not making money off them now, but I could see that happening. I could see BlackBerry one day saying, "Hey, we're going to get back into the phone business." It's not going to happen 2-3 years from now. It might happen 5 years, 10 years from now, but nothing in the near future. So, very exciting stuff. A lot of people, got very excited for it, which is great. Have at it, get excited, but just keep in mind that this is probably John Chen fantasy booking his next phone, right? So, the other interesting thing that BlackBerry CEO John Chen, they kind of touched on the patents concept or patent situation that they have. If you don't know, Facebook or BlackBerry has filed patent infringement lawsuits on Facebook and Snap Inc., other known as Snapchat, and these are pretty much for using BlackBerry patents inside Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram, and also Snapchat for Snap Inc., of course. And they kind of talked about these lawsuits and kind of why BlackBerry is doing this. And if you go to the interview, it's roughly around like the 27-minute mark, 20-second mark. You can listen to it for there after you don't listen to this podcast, of course. Kind of interesting thing they stated BlackBerry has 37,000 patents under their name, which is a lot of patents. Yeah, and so John Chen gave a quote: "We are not interested in just lawsuits or being patent trolls. Being a public company CEO, I have a responsibility to maximize. Being a public company CEO, I have a responsibility to maximize our assets." So pretty much what this means is John Chen doesn't have any intentions of being a patent troll, but he is going to go protect what is theirs. These patents were innovations of BlackBerry long time ago, of course, but they're innovations of BlackBerry. They revolutionized and they were pioneers in mobile messaging platforms with BBM. And BlackBerry CEO John Chen is going to protect these innovations that BlackBerry has. And he's said that before that they have gone to Facebook and Snapchat or Snap Inc. and said, "Hey, we know you guys are using our patents. Let's work out some kind of deal where we get some kind of reimbursement for these patents, and we'll call it a day." Both companies said no. So they filed in lawsuits against them. And as I've said before, I think it's the right thing for BlackBerry to do. I am perfectly 110% behind them on this, and I really hope they take down these two, win these lawsuits. It's ever since these lawsuits, it's been a tough time for Facebook because BlackBerry announced this lawsuit, and then the Cambridge Analytica stuff came out with Facebook. So it hasn't been a fun time for Facebook. If you're Mark Zuckerberg, you're having a rough month, so to say. And I wouldn't be surprised if with all this Cambridge Analytica stuff, Facebook kind of just pays out with this lawsuit and just says, "Hey, we're not going to take it to court. We'll just settle on it." So, yeah, I don't consider them a patent troll. I applaud John Chen for sticking up for what they believe in and for their assets, for that matter. I really think BlackBerry is doing the right thing here. So the last thing, going back to the rumor devices. So earlier we were talking about the Athena and the leaked render images on there. So today I was browsing through Reddit. If you guys don't know, Reddit's a great little website. There's subreddits for pretty much everything in life, right? Every company, sports, music, games. I love Reddit. I get lost in there every day. And I'm part of the BlackBerry subreddit community. And so someone posted up there, I forget the user's name, but he posted up there a screenshot of a Weibo profile for the head of sales for BlackBerry Mobile China. Now, the interesting portion of this profile showed that the name Key2 in his profile, which means he was using a Key2, or it should mean he was using a Key2. So this gives us the name, the supposed name of the next BlackBerry device, the Key2. Now, what's interesting about this name is it's not KEWTWO, it's KEW number 2, which is very clever in my idea or my mind. I really like that naming. We don't know true or not, or if somebody photoshopped it. I didn't look photoshopped for me, so that's why I did post it. Pretty close. And if it is true, I really, really like their the wording here. So, they could have just called it Key2 and spelled out the word 2, right? Fine. But key and then the number 2 lets people know this is the second device in the lineup, right? Or one line. I really like that. For some reason, I just really, really, really like that concept. And when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, that's when after I got done checking out the photo, making sure it was accurate and everything like that. I was like, Key2, really, really cool name." So go check out the article for the screenshot. We're still trying to wait. We're waiting for BlackBerry Mobile to kind of confirm or deny this. They'll probably deny it for a little bit. We're waiting from them, and we'll see if anything else pops up with this. As I said, we should start hearing some more news about the next Key1 device soon, because they said they want to release 2, and we're almost in May. We're 2 weeks away from May, so I still am stuck on the concept of them releasing something in June, or for the device in June, and then later in the fall they will release some kind of device. So we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see what happens to Key2, if it's actually the name or not, or if they call it something else, like Key1 Next Edition or something like that. But that's it for this week's show. I know it's kind of a long one. Thank you guys for tuning in. Anybody in the chat, as I close it out, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. But thank you guys for sticking with me during the technical difficulties this week. Google Chrome's been weird for the past couple of weeks, and that's what I use here on my end, but to bring up the pages and stuff like that. But thank you guys for tuning in and sticking with us through the technical difficulties. We will definitely be back next week for episode 82. If throughout the week, feel free to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Those are pretty much it, at Bear Reporter for all 3 of those. You can find me on Twitter as well, at Blackberry Brad. Kyle wants to know, unrelated, what do I think of Labo? That means the Nintendo Labo, right? That's what I think you mean. I think it's a great concept. It's if you guys don't know, it's Nintendo Labo is pretty much a building kind of kit. You can kind of build your own accessory to your Nintendo Switch and kind of use it to play games with. And I really think it's a great concept. It's definitely geared towards like the younger. I'm not buying it right away, but eventually I'll check it out, and pretty interested in to see what I can do with that thing. But yeah, really cool thing. Yeah, thanks for the really cool question. But yeah, if you guys haven't done so already, like I said in the beginning of the show, hit that like and subscribe button on the podcast or on the YouTube channel. That helps us out a lot. Get noticed and everything like that. So thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode. I hope you guys have a great, fantastic week. And I will see you guys next week. Blackberry Brad out.